You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of goddamn nerds. Nerds!
Sports, the infinite frontier. These are the rants, opinions, and discussions of the one and the only Sportscast. Their mission: talk about the major headlines in sports news, drink beer, curse loudly, and heavily criticize their favorite teams. To boldly rant where no man has ranted before. And now, here are your nerds.
Nerds! Nerds!
Philip Ford.
Scruffy little.
Max Andrews.
Y'all still deserve to die. I hope they burn your head.
And Cobb.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
All right. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
I'm doing good too.
Gentlemen.
So, welcome to episode 8, I think. That's what I titled it. So,
Yeah. I think you're correct, sir. It's been a few weeks, though. So.
Yes, it has.
We got Max over there being awfully quiet.
Mike is Johnny two times.
Yeah, I know. I keep hearing this echo. I don't know how to fix that.
I'm not sure either. Maybe turn your volume down?
Is that a way of telling me to shut up?
No, seriously, I haven't.
It could be just because the volume and the speakers and the microphone are so close together that you're hearing us come back through the system. But I'm not hearing an echo.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm still getting it.
Yeah, me too. And I'm doing it.
Interesting. I mean, it's not that bad, honestly, so.
Okay.
What was that, Max?
I'm hearing an echo from myself.
I can't even hear what you're saying.
Oh wow. This is gonna be.
Just, if you have headphones, Max, just put those on. Connect them up and put them in. And that'll help resolve the issue.
All right, gentlemen. I'm glad. Right back.
That's fine. We can continue without you. Oh, really? You couldn't even hear him. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear him. It just mutters all over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he said he's going to go away to try and find some headphones to try and see if he can fix it. And he said, it's a good thing we're live, so we can do this on air.
Yeah. It's like, sports here, so it's like a blooper.
Exactly. This is the real deal. This is what happens when you're live. Things don't always work well.
That's right.
But, yeah, because I guess we got some NFL news to talk about. We got some baseball. I guess we could start on out now. We can't start off with Ronda Rousey. That'll make Max jealous and upset.
Yeah, we can't do that without him.
How about baseball?
Well, since he's not here right now, let's talk about baseball.
Great minds think alike there.
Huh?
I said great minds think alike. I said baseball as soon as you said, hey, let's talk about some baseball.
Yeah. So, a lot of deals being made. You got Cespedes going to the Mets. Price going to the Blue Jays. I'm sorry. I'm getting this. Let me try to get some headphones.
All right, no worries, man. But yeah, and then so I mean, I can go off on my own little tangent here, and we've got the Nationals doing the collapse here as the Mets start rising up in the rankings. Speaking of his trade that he specifically mentioned, we'll see what happens. I mean, It'll be interesting because now they've lost so many games that if they don't win the East, they're out of the playoffs, which is a horrible slide, but that's what happens when I think, or they might make the wild card. I have to look at it again. I think they might be a game out of the second wild card slot, technically.
All right, I'm in.
Are you better over there, Max, as well?
Are you hearing double from me?
I was never hearing double from you.
Yes, I'm hearing double from you.
See? Still got double going on.
I don't know what to do.
So, I mean, we could either bail on this call and delete it off YouTube, or we can continue forward. I think it's about all we can do.
It stays on YouTube.
It stays on YouTube. As the short sports nerds with very little sports talk.
You guys get done talking baseball?
So all I talked about, so he was like, we're going to talk about baseball while Max is gone, and then he's like, nope, can't handle it anymore. So I left off with the Nationals, since the Mets are there, and basically talking about their slide, and I think they're actually out of the playoffs as of today.
Yeah, because the Pirates are pretty good.
And then you have another East team.
They beat the Dodgers last night in extra innings. And they'll definitely get the wild card spot, I think. Because there's no way they're going to catch the Cardinals.
Yeah, and you have the play-in spot, right? Don't you? Is that 2 teams to get into the final wild card?
Yeah, there's the play-in.
Okay, so that might be the way they make the playoffs. That'll be it if they do.
Yeah. And it was pretty crazy. I just keep hearing these echoes.
Here, let me mute my mic and then let the two of you talk and see if it fixes.
All right. Am I hearing double?
No, dude, you're perfect.
It's Philip, dude. I feel like I'm at the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now we have.
Buddy,
So Philip, yeah, mute your mic. When you're not talking.
So raise your hand when you want to talk.
All right, that's okay. So, what other baseball stuff do we have?
Well, I was just going to say it's going to be an interesting National League race for the wild card spot. I mean, you start off with the Nationals, who were projected to be major players, and they've just hit this huge skid. And you got the Mets, who made all these deals to make a big push here. And so it's going to be really interesting to see down the stretch here who's going to prevail in the East. And then on top of that, you have the NL Central with the Cardinals just blowing everybody away. But then you also have the Pirates that are not pushovers either. And so it's going to be interesting to see out of the Pirates and whoever wins the East or whoever comes in second in the East is going to get that wild card spot. So. But also, my Indians made a huge trade yesterday. They got rid of Nick Swisher and Michael Bourne for some nobody, which is huge, though, for the Indians because they spent a shitload of money on these two guys a couple of years ago. And thinking that these two guys are going to be the cornerstones to help turn the team around, which all they've been doing is getting hurt and selling T-shirts. Now, Nick Swisher is an Ohio guy. He played for Ohio State. They just renamed the field at Ohio State, the baseball stadium. They just renamed it after Nick Swisher, and he has coined the phrase "Brohio." He's he's a bro. He's got this whole movement going on in Cleveland and just across the state, really. And they finally got rid of him, which I am so happy because he was supposed to come in there and be our third or fourth batter in the lineup, and he has produced nothing but shit. And he has sold more T-shirts than he has done anything else while his time with the Indians. And so I couldn't be happier that he's finally gone. So you guys both have your mics muted.
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about baseball, so no, I was just thinking, Brohio, that makes me sad a little bit, like on the inside, in my soul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't feel
man.
bad.
Yeah,
Don't
bro. Baseball, bro.
Bro,
We're gonna
like that's
we're
all
gonna
he
sit
did.
down,
That's
bro.
all
We're
he
gonna sit
did,
down
man.
for a long period of time, then we're gonna stand up, dude. Yeah, bro.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's all I really got on baseball, though. Phil, care to raise your hand and join in?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You're funny. Raise my hand and join. I've actually been unmuted while the two of you were talking. I think I fixed it. But so yeah, I mean that's hilarious. He sold more T-shirts than he did anything for the team. That's a good thing for them at least. But yeah, I don't really have much else baseball news just because it's mostly the NL that's kind of interesting. Otherwise, the AL is not. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing in the American League is going to be whether or not it's going to be really between the Blue Jays and the Yankees who's going to win the East. And the Tigers have just blown up. I mean, everyone thought they were going to be major contenders to win their division and make a big push because they had such a great lineup. But Cabrera got hurt, and they dealt Price, and they're probably going to get rid of others. So it's I think they're going to be blowing that whole thing up. It's just going to be Verlander and Cabrera next year, and just a bunch of scrubs. So
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's their plan is just to start grabbing new people again.
yeah, I guess you also. Huh? Go ahead, Max.
Didn't I pick the Tigers to like win this year or something?
I believe so.
You probably
Yeah,
did.
that's crappy. That's poop. I don't like that at all.
Another reason to hate baseball.
The fucking Tigers, man. I can't believe my fucking Tigers. All the time with this crap, dude. They can't ever just have a good season. They're always trading away their good players. Blah, 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 blah.
If you were only talking about the Marlins, you'd be right.
Yes, that is so true with the Marlins. But, yeah, I guess also American League West, you got the Astros and the Angels. Who's going to come out of that? But, I mean, I really don't care. So.
I like it.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So let's move on.
Absolutely, sir. What's next?
Football?
Football.
All right. So what do you want to talk about first? The Hall of Famers, or do we want to talk about the injuries / kind of comings and goings of players?
Let's talk about injuries. Go ahead, Max.
Oh, no, I was going to say let's talk about Hall of Fame, but injuries are better. Let's do that.
Okay. A lot of people have been getting injured. No, but you got Arian Foster. You got Arian Foster who's going to be out for most of the season. And if you're a Bible thumper, you probably think it's because he just came out and said he didn't believe in God. But so that's going to be huge, though, with fantasy implications. Though, if anybody was out there thinking that Foster was going to have a bounce back year, Deshaun Jackson just got hurt the other day. The wide receiver Michael Floyd for the Cardinals got injured. He broke 3 or 4 of his fingers. He had to have surgery on his hand.
What was he doing?
Probably catching balls out of the jug machine and just hit him back.
Damn.
Hairline fracture, it would just snap at that point.
Yeah. And
yeah, hazards of the job.
Yeah, so I mean, you got some major fantasy players here that are getting hurt, and I think it's going to also with the Browns. They got two of their big time running backs are out for the foreseeable future, and I just think it's interesting that so many injuries are going on right now. I mean, there's plenty more that I can't even think off the top of my head, but I just think it's really interesting that in the last collective bargaining agreement. The whole thing was that the players wanted was less physicality in these training camps and OTAs, and because of the injury factor, and yet these guys are barely putting on pads only like a couple times a week, and yet they're still getting hurt, and so I think it's pretty ironic.
Oh yeah, and I think it's deeper than the physical contact, to be honest, and it's probably something totally different that would have to be, you know, way more in-depth studied from medicine perspective. But yeah, I think they reacted in the way of thinking, hey, I think it had less to do with injury and more to do with, hey, we want to be able to relax in mini camp and training camps and actually like enjoy ourselves and not be exhausted by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you get paid to work out, pretty much is what they get paid to do. Life is so rough that you need like less working. They want more money and less working out. Is that like what you're saying? Like, give me a break, asshole. Go throw some pads on and get out there. This dude's making $10 million. You're fucking making $10 million. I don't want to hear your shit. Just get out there.
Yeah, man. No, I totally agree with you, Max, and you too, Philip. I don't even really think, and a lot of these injuries aren't even really coming from contact. It's just basically it's just what happens. And these guys, they are so like programmed to do this routine, and eventually it's just going to catch up with them. Hell, look at Tiger Woods, man. I mean, the guy is on a crazy workout regimen, and then eventually his body just breaks down. It's just because you're constantly working out. You're gonna get the growing pulls. You're gonna pull a hamstring. All that shit. So I agree that a lot of it doesn't really have to come in with putting on pads and hitting each other. I mean, that's when broken bones and concussions come into play. But a lot of these injuries are these muscle pulls and strains but hopefully it doesn't impact fantasy too much. So
yeah, well, it always does, and it'll be interesting to kind of see what comes out of the rubble of all of this. I mean, it might mean, actually, this is a decent segue actually for you. Is potentially could mean the resurrection of Ray Rice's career. Actually, all these injuries as they always happen. But I think towards the middle of the season.
I would be pleasantly surprised if Ray Rice gets picked up because he still seems kind of toxic, or people think he's still kind of toxic. I think to their image and the new NFL that we're in now. So I mean, we'll see. That would be really, really interesting. And like, as far as these people getting hurt, like this does really make it a lot more fun. I don't say more fun, but a lot more interesting for your first round fantasy, because now you're like, okay, well this guy's out 4 weeks, but you still got to pick him up because like who doesn't want Arian Foster on the team? So it's gonna make it a little different and see who goes first and whatnot in the fantasy draft. But like there's always a lot of injuries, and I don't think that like you're making $10 million. Your job is to like work out and run around. So just like take that's a hazard of the job. Get out there, do your thing, and go back to work.
Yeah, and and back to Ray Rice. I think first of all, I can't get it through my head why ESPN is like spoon feeding us this bullshit about Ray Rice. They put him on all these talk shows, and oh, I'm so sorry, and I want to be the face of domestic violence, and to I want to be able to help people and all that stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's great. We still have this footage of you knocking your fiance out and then dragging her out of the elevator. Like, I'm sure you're sorry for it, but that is going to follow him around to the day he dies. And it sucks though, because you got another guy like Greg Hardy who choked his fiance in the room with like their baby and like threw her on a bed of guns and said he was going to kill her. And then mysteriously, he gets convicted, but then in the appeal, it gets dropped, all of a sudden, because, obviously she got paid off probably by Hardy. And then Hardy got a 10-game suspension, and then it got reduced to a 4-game suspension. Like, give me a break, man. Ray Rice, first they gave him 2, and then they corrected that by kicking him out for the year, and then the Ravens cut him. So it's like, I don't see how like Greg Hardy gets away, only because there's no video of him doing any of this. And I think that's the only reason why he still has a job right now, to be honest with you.
I agree with you, and I guess for me, that's the reason why I think the hypocrisy of the NFL will catch up with it, and Ray Rice will be forced to give it a chance, simply because he can point to more than a handful of guys that are playing in the NFL that were convicted of things that just on technicalities things got dropped or disappeared. Like Alden Smith is a perfect example. Now his isn't quite domestic violence, but recently he apparently did a hit and run, which I would love to know what the detriment of that. But of course they're going to go through the process. They're not going to release that till later. But it's just interesting to me that I do agree with you. I agree with you, Max, that because it's videotaped, he is going to be scarred forever. And I do think what will end up happening is, and I think part of what you're seeing, Mike, and I see why you disagree with it, is ESPN's trying to set him up. And I think a lot of people are. Like, there's a lot of people in Ray Rice's corner, for good and for bad. Supposedly, all the character people in his life said he's never done anything like this before. May be true or may not be true. And so they're trying to get him a second chance. For me, my perspective, I really think all it comes down to is, can he play? If he can play and they show that on the field, like if he gets a tryout and he suddenly looks like the old Ray Rice, I think this whole talk of everything we've just said is out the window. They will come up with ways to politicize him and publicize him and make it not disappear, because you can't, but they will turn him into basically not Greg Hardy, because they don't have that videotape, but essentially that sort of epic. Good or bad, that's what I believe.
Yeah, he could definitely be kind of like the Michael Vick of his problems. You know, it's a great comeback story. But Ray Rice is a running back, and running backs, and he's pushing 30. And I mean, once you hit 28, 29, you got a lot of miles on you. Unless you're Adrian Peterson or a surefire Hall of Famer, your production is going to go down. I believe the last year he was in the league, he had significant carries, but didn't really do much with it. I believe he averaged like 3 yards per carry or something like that. So, I mean, he'll definitely get a shot. I think he'll get on with the team in camp, but as far as making the final 53 roster, I don't see it. But you never know. I mean, he's had a lot of time off, a lot of time to work out, a lot of time to get his body right, so we'll see. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I was just gonna I agree with you, Mike. That at least he has had all this time. You're saying he hit 30, but he has had like a year and some change now off, completely not doing nothing. So he may be getting a little bit more time. You can cash in on the back end there, but I don't know that they can publicly salvage this. You know what I'm saying? Like. They got him on video, so he's gonna be he's gonna be hands off for a little while, I think. Something else needs to happen. Some football player needs to hijack a school bus full of or like an old people's bus heading to the market or something like that, and drive it off a cliff, and or something, and then people are gonna be like, what, Ray Rice isn't even that bad.
What the hell?
All they've got to do is go back in time and bring up, I think it's Ray Caruth, who killed his ex-girlfriend or wife at the time.
He was pregnant with his kid.
Pregnant wife. There you go. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You need something huge like that, but it's got to be despicable, and then people are just like, what? Ray Rice ain't even that bad.
Yeah. Right. And then if that happens, then Josh Gordon needs to come back, because as a Cleveland fan and being dire for need of a wide receiver because our stupid GM will never draft one, we need to get Josh Gordon out of football jail. I mean, the guy smoked a little bit of weed, and then when he got in trouble for it, he
smoked a little more weed.
His alcohol test, and now he's out for the year. So, I mean, we have all this shit going on, and they're getting 4-game suspensions. And Ray Rice can come back whenever. Alden Smith, though, he's done this year. Alden Smith's done. But yeah, I can't stay. I just see all these other guys getting away, and Josh Gordon's still sitting in football jail, which is such bullshit.
Well, I mean, hey, Tom Brady's still got a 4-game suspension, man. You can feel good about that.
Yeah. But I don't even think he deserves a 4-game suspension. I mean. The league, the rules say that if you fuck with the balls, it's a $25,000 fine. But yet, they are hell-bent on trying to bury the Patriots, though, with this thing, and I don't really think they deserve it as much as, like, I don't really care for the Patriots. I never have. I never really rooted for them. You know, I'm kind of indifferent about them. I'm not one of those guys like, oh, God, I hate the Patriots because they always win, but, I mean, hell, even though Tom Brady went to Michigan, though, I mean, I don't think he deserves to get, 4-game suspension for what he did. I mean, they can't really prove anything either.
That dude went to Michigan. He deserves to be kicked out of the NFL.
I love it, Max. I love it.
But what else we got for pro football? We got the Hall of Fame this weekend.
Yeah.
So, let's see. We'll go over the list of names that made it. So, Jerome Bettis, Tim Brown, wide receiver. For the he's a little bit more obscure. Then you also had Junior Seau, linebacker. You had Will Shields, guard from Kansas City. And, who am I forgetting? I sent out the list, but I can't remember the fifth guy, because there's always five.
Bill Polian.
They have 5 players, usually. Do they go for 5 players? I don't think so.
Let me see who else
Will
made
Shields,
it.
Tim Brown, Jerome Bettis. Tim Brown. Yeah, I'm missing one.
Junior Seau.
Charles Haley, the defensive.
Charles Haley, yeah. Charles
To
Haley.
me, it's interesting. Like, I think Tim Brown should be in the Hall of Fame, but when I looked at the list of the people that got left off, because Marvin Harrison just became eligible this year, I thought it was interesting that Tim Brown got in over Marvin Harrison when, statistically, just alone, Marvin Harrison was better than him. And just generally on a day-to-day basis, like if you're going to be picking fantasy players and you have any time, or even you're going to play Madden, you're probably going to pick Marvin Harrison over Tim Brown. I don't know what you all think.
Well, when it comes to Marvin Harrison, I think 2 things. Number one, he had Peyton Manning throwing to him most of his career, and so maybe they take that into account and say, well, he's a product of Peyton Manning. And number 2, Marvin Harrison, I think, is like involved in some kind of like murder case or something. Like he owns like a club or a restaurant or something like that, and like someone got murdered. And so like I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but I just know he's some shady shit's going on.
Was there any domestic violence involved? Because if not,
he should be okay. I mean, I think you can murder people and still, look at Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis murdered 2 people. Well, he didn't murder 2 people, but yeah.
Yeah, totally. As long as nobody beats their wives or their kids.
Yeah. Everything else is fair game, but if you get a woman or your kid, you are fucked in the NFL.
Or smoke weed, apparently.
Yes, this is true. But, I mean, I wouldn't get too down on Marvin Harrison. I think Marvin Harrison will make the Hall sooner than later. I mean, look at Chris Carter, man. Chris Carter was hands down one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, and it took him forever to get in the Hall of Fame, and mostly because he was a dickhead to the media when he played. And so, like, the media stuck it back to him and said, oh, well, we're going to wait, like, 10 years after you're retired until you finally make the Hall. So, but, yeah. But
how many times can you like be nominated before they're like, nope, you don't make it in? Isn't it like 2 or 3 or something like that?
I don't think there's a limit when it comes to the NFL. I know there's a limit on baseball. They give you so many chances, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it's just baseball because Tim Brown has been on the list for a while now. Like, it's been a question of when he was going to make it, and he made it this year.
Yeah. And
when Jerry Rice got in, I believe, actually. Him and Tim Brown got together. What's that?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh no, I thought there was a limit in football also, but no, that's since Jerry Rice went in, that's a long time to be waiting. That was a while ago.
Oh yeah, and I mean I think Seau deserved to be a first ballot because I think this is his first time on, as well as Bettis. No, and this isn't Bettis' first time. This is Bettis' second time. I think he was up last year.
Yeah,
I think Bettis is going to take it.
Oh, he got in. So I mean,
he's in.
It'll be interesting.
Oh, they're all in.
They're all in, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought there's no like bachelor style competition between these guys.
No, it's not, no. Actually,
No,
it's
they
a
already-
death match. It's kind of like
So,
in
like-
Dark Knight where the Joker breaks a pool cue and just throws it out there, and
Yeah,
then they
dude.
all just kind of have to whoever lives gets in the Hall of Fame.
That's pretty badass, dude. Actually, I remember when John Elway got in. That was pretty bloody.
Junior Seau's dead, so he can't physically be there, so it's going to be his ghost. So my money's on Junior Seau. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Huh?
unless one of the guys steals a proton pack from one of them chicks in the Ghostbuster movie, I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch Seau.
Yeah.
I mean, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. Speaking of Seau, though, they weren't going to let. I don't know if they're going to let his daughter do the speech or not, but at first they did not want her to. Now, usually every Hall of Famer, they get to select whoever does the induction speech for them. Well, since Seau's not there, they want his daughter wanted to do it, and the NFL was just like, no way, no, not going to happen. We're just going to show a little bit of a highlight reel type of thing, and then have it be done with. But I think it's really important that she does get up there and speak because Seau killed himself because his head was so fucked up. He claimed that he had all the CTE. I don't know what CTE stands for, but it's a product of brain damage from concussions. And, I mean, I kind of put it on Seau himself because he kind of retired and then came back and still kept playing until he was like, and I don't know if he was on the juice or not, but, I mean, the guy was like damn near 40 playing in the Super Bowl for the Patriots, and he was probably the most ripped I've ever seen him, growing up. But yeah, I mean, he shot himself in the chest so his brain could be examined, and his family it was a huge tragedy. I was living in Southern California at the time, and when the news broke of that, I mean, like, it was like you would have thought John Lennon died. He's just been so well loved and revered, and so I think there's a lot of people out there that want to get to the, kind of want to get to the bottom of, why he killed himself and, the dangers of playing football in general, and I don't think the NFL wants that publicity.
Everything all right?
Yes, no, my wife's taking out the trash right now, so.
Okay.
And she dumped it all over the floor, so.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Hi.
And say hi. She says hi.
Anywho, yeah, Junior Seau. I don't know. See, I don't know because getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, yeah, it would be great if the daughter would give a speech, but also, it's supposed to be kind of a happier time and the celebration of things. And if you're going to talk about, the medical, all the medical crap, and I shouldn't say crap because it's very important, but, all the concussions and how the NFL mistreats everybody and blah, 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 then you're kind of just dragging down the whole thing you're standing in front of. And it's like, I don't know if that's really the platform for her to even take on that, but, she should be able to talk, for the NFL and to the NFL about that stuff because it is important and this guy did kill himself and that could have been their fault. And so, those are all super important things and obviously it's, a major issue, but yeah, I don't know if the Hall of Fame induction is the right place for that.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds exactly like the arguments I've been hearing on sports talk radio, basically. It's which side of the aisle do you sit on, right? I think she should be able to speak, but I just don't know if I'd feel comfortable with what I would have to say because I think the NFL would force her to write a speech and they would have to see it before they would ever let her get on there, which that kind of goes against everything we stand for as a country, so that's kind of weird.
And then she starts to say what she wants, and then it all, they throw up this broadcast has been temporarily interrupted, yada, yada, yada. And it's, it's not going to be a good time. So I say, yeah, just...
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, I see your point, Max. This is supposed to be a good time. We're supposed to be celebrating these people, but at the same time, that she's never going to get a platform to speak like this. I mean, unless she knows somebody at CNN or some shit, she's not going to be able to to get this story out and and kind of get her feelings out there. And the NFL just paid this huge lawsuit not too long ago. I think it was almost $800 million or something like that to all these people who claim they had concussion problems, after the NFL. And so the NFL is just like, okay, we settled the lawsuit, it's over, it's done with. But I think they are, I think they just want to, they don't want to, bring up this story again. I mean, they already got this whole image problem with, Ray Rice, Greg Hardy, now Alden Smith with his third Dewey. You got Brady deflating balls. So the NFL is under fire here, and I don't think they can take another bad publicity hit right now, especially on the night where they're inducting all these Hall of Fame guys.
To me, I think the good middle ground for the NFL, what they should have done, is let her speak and then give her a platform in a commercial. Pay for a commercial for 30 seconds where she can speak about the issue. I don't think they have that in them, the morals or the wherewithal to do that, but I think that's what they should have done.
Nah, man, it's going to be a big blast. You're going to get, like, Ray Rice, Tom Brady, this chick, like Bill Belichick, Greg Hardy, Alden Smith, who else? Michael Irvin. They're all going to be in there. Aaron Hernandez,
Yeah, Aaron Hernandez.
They're going to have like a video with the telephone and everything. But, yeah, man, they're just all going to do a PSA like, don't cheat, don't hit your wife, don't do drugs, like, take care of yourself, make sure you're getting your kids checked for concussions, don't drive drunk. They're all going to sing like, don't commit murder. They're all going to sing like "We Are the World" or something like that. I think that would go over pretty well.
Yeah, and speaking of those PSAs, how stupid were those last year? I mean, you had what's her name? She's $1 Million Baby.
Hillary Swank.
And she was like trying to get herself to like cry before she's like, I can't even talk about it.
I got nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so stupid. So, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see tonight. What they do. But I just said do. Yeah, I'm looking more forward to the game tomorrow night. Finally get to see some football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Vikings and the Steelers playing, so it'll be interesting to see what Teddy. I'm more interested to see what the Vikings. Everyone's talking about the Vikings being a wild card team this year. Adrian Peterson's back. They got a really good young defense, and Teddy Bridgewater didn't suck as a rookie. So, I mean, when you don't suck as a rookie when you're a quarterback, you're just so. I mean, you got potential. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and as long as you're so with that man in your backfield and he stays healthy, you suddenly have a very good team.
Yeah, teams win Super Bowls like that, so.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Is that everything?
Well, let's save the best thing for last, Max. So I'm sure you heard about Ronda Rousey winning
man.
34-second fight.
Yeah, dude, she's like, look, I'm going to string this one out. Dude, she more than doubled her last fight. I mean, like, who could ask for more? You know what I'm saying? Like, 34 whole seconds of straight Ronda Rousey beating ass action. Give me a break. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, she lasted 34 seconds. Like, big ups to that chick. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Just killing them.
She's just demolishing people.
I feel like they've got to be like 19-year-old college chicks that they're throwing against this freaking beast. It doesn't seem fair. Like, they've got to find somebody who can fight this chick.
Yeah. She's scheduled to fight Miesha Tate again for the third time, and Miesha Tate got her ass kicked twice already by Rousey, but has gone more than a round, I want to say, or at least.
Oh, snaps!
Has fought her like the longest time, or has gone the distance. I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but so scheduled to fight her for the third time, which she'll kick her ass. But then they're also talking about her fighting this other woman called, her name is Chris something, but they call her Cyborg, Chris Cyborg, and she's like 145, 150, and Rousey's 135, and so the big debate is, does Cyborg drop down 10 pounds or whatever to fight Rousey, or does Rousey put on some weight and they kind of like fight in the middle? And Rousey's already come out and talked shit about Cyborg because Cyborg got popped for steroids, I want to say, a few years ago, and so so it'll be interesting to see. I'd rather see that fight than this whole Miesha Tate thing, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I think maybe that's the only other way we get challenges, Max, is for her to go up in weight, but that can be a huge disadvantage at times for fighters.
Yeah, but like you got the great Roy Jones Jr. fought in like 5 different weight classes. So I mean, like if you're a badass, you can pull it off. I want to see her. I just want to see her get challenged by something. You haven't seen a fight where you're like, holy crap, Ronda Rousey might not win this fight.
Yeah,
it's not happened.
Yeah, I think her whole point is that she's the champ. So if you want to beat me, then you gotta come down to my level, type of deal. That's her whole excuse. But I would like to see her at least go out of her comfort zone a little bit and fight some bigger broads. I think that's the only thing that she can do now. And I mean, and if she can't find any competition, I think her best bet is to probably retire and join WWF or something like that. You know what I mean? Because
that'd be cool.
People aren't going to be buying these fights any longer to see her, fight for 30 seconds and and be done with. They're not going to stay up till 1 in the morning, all that bullshit. When they can see the highlights the next day. So
you can watch that whole 30-second fight on YouTube like 10 seconds after it happens, so you don't have to.
Exactly. Exactly, but all the great fights and all the great fighters, if you're a big fight fan, you want to see it live, and it's like, well, what's the big deal? I was kind of talking to Phil earlier about Ronda Rousey's kind of like the Mike Tyson of her sport and her gender. It's just like, I mean, it just wasn't a contest. Tyson was knocking everybody out. Round 1, round 2, and nobody had a chance. No one stood a chance against him until finally, he met Don King, and then Buster Douglas whooped his ass, who was from Columbus, Ohio. But yeah, so.
Yeah, I just don't see her getting that full of herself like Tyson did, though, because that was what happened to Tyson. Tyson just got cocky, arrogant, and was living the good life.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting. I would like to see her go up, and maybe that'll give her a challenge. But I do agree with you, Max, is if you don't go up a lot in weight, I think you don't really lose much if you're technically more savvy than the next person you're fighting.
You're muted, Max.
I know it. It's always like the mouse is the farthest away from the stupid thing whenever I realize that I'm still muted. But no, she's gonna have to do something because like everyone's gonna get to. If you're a one-trick pony, like okay, you can knock every chick in your weight class out. What else can you do? Like there's just she should go up. I think she should go up and be like, I'm the best, period. Like that's just how it is.
All right, well that's all I got.
I mean, I think it's best to end on a note on the Ronda Rousey note, just because such a dominant force in.
They're making a porno now about Ronda Rousey. It's called Ronda Arouse Me, I think is what it's called.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That goes right up there with Who's Nailin' Palin.
There you go. Who's Nailin' Palin?
That's at least funnier.
Yeah. Ronda Arouse Me. Good God.
Oh, yeah. So, you guys need to come and check out our next podcast because we will talk more about football, fantasy football. We're going to get a league going, and between now and then, we'll figure out the stipulations of who's in and who's out of the league. So stay tuned, and we will have more information on that for you. And I'm Carf.
I'm Max.
And this is Phil.
And we'll see you next time whenever we all have the free time to cast. So
next week. Next week. I don't want to go this long without casting.
I know. Next week will be a little difficult for me. I can't do it Friday, possibly Thursday, but I don't know. So maybe Wednesday. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it
in Cleveland. So.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, check us out on 3geeks.ninja. It's our website. You can find all of our podcasts there, not just the Awesome Sports Nerds podcast, but also 3 Geeks Live and Animaniacs and all kinds of movie reviews and whatnot. Check us out on Twitter at 3 Geeks Podcast. You're on Stitcher, 3 Geeks Podcast, 3 Geek Podcast on everything. Let us know, comment, like, share, all those good things. Let us know how you're feeling. Yeah, you want to get in on this, the first ever Sports Nerds Fantasy Football League, drop us a line at, what was it, what's the Gmail?
3geekspodcast at Gmail.
Go figure.
Who would have thought?
But, yeah, do all those things, like, comment, and share, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace!
Later.